What's one thing that you would say to the audience, right? That average person that's on that 85,000, um, not being able to own a property, right? Cost of living is eating away at them. To be a Yeah, what would you say to them right now to try and make change in their life?
Ended on a positive note.
Oh, goodness. That's
In Australia,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it could be follow my channel, it could be
yeah.
educate yourself around X, it could be,
Okay.
you know what, learn about history, right?
So
Like
the-
again, I'm nowhere near the level that you would be at in regards to education around history.
So I basically packaged the answer to that question into my masterclass. And this is going to sound like I'm just taking a free kick to promote my shit. And yes, I guess in a way I am. But let me talk about what's in the masterclass, and that'll be the answer to the question. It's 6 weeks. The five main topics in the 6 week is a wrap up, pulling it all together. The five main topics are hope.
Mhm.
Hope is an incredibly essential and powerful thing. But it's also a very dangerous thing, and people can misuse hope in order to lead people on and to get what they want out of people. We need to control our hope and know why we have it and where it comes from and what it's in. Focus. Now, this is probably the thing that I would leave with people today. Focus. You choose where you focus. You can't save the world. The reality is you probably can't change the world, right? But what you can do is choose where you invest your energy in the world. Every yes has a no attached to it. Every no has a yes attached to it. Those things that you think you want to do but you don't have time for, it's not that you don't have time, it's that you said yes to something that should have been a lower priority. Change what you say yes to, start saying no to a lot more things, and you will open up the ability to say yes to the things that you know really matter, but you're not getting to. Because I don't have time. Yes, you do. Start saying no a lot more. Shift your focus. For some people, that's going to mean stop spending so much focus on news and what's happening in the world and all the rest of it. Get out of your device and get back into real life and just start actually doing stuff. And then I'll talk about courage in the third week. I touched on that earlier, where it comes from. And we can actually, once we really drill down into what courage is and values and identity, we can actually start to control it and actually we can begin to calculate if a given situation arises, will I or will I not have courage? And will the people around me have courage? And this is why, one of the reasons why we need to get back into community. We need to, something like COVID and the way the world is going right now, bad times give good people an opportunity to find each other. And what we need to do is to understand what courage is and make sure that we're surrounded by people that have similar values and similar identities that require them to act. And what that means is the next time something happens and we feel the need to stand up, we won't be alone, because we'll be in a community of people that share our values and have the identity as a doer, someone who takes action. And when we feel that compulsion, my values are being violated and I need to do something about this, and we stand up, we look around and there's heads popping up all over the place. So courage is a huge one, and knowing what your values are, why they are, and having the identity that requires you to be a doer and do something about it. Courage, then faith. Now, faith is not just in the religious sense. There are many, many reasons to have an enormous amount of faith in humanity, and I'm ridiculously optimistic for the future. I think we have to go through a really rough patch to get there, but I am ridiculously optimistic for the future, because look at history and look at what your ancestors, in the broadest sense, look at what humanity did and overcame. Look at the darkness that has been, and yet they came through to where we are today.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
So faith, then community, which is talking about this need to build that community, and not just a community of people that know our name and we know theirs, but people whose needs we can meet, who can meet our needs, who share our values. Then in the 6th week, I get practical and I say, okay, let's talk about something that you can do right now that is going to change your relationship with how you live. And I won't mention his name, but you would know who he is. He's a prominent Australian businessman who we spoke during COVID, and he was feeling very, very trapped by the national border being shut down. And he discovered that actually, if your plane is 6 seats or less, you can leave. All the restrictions didn't apply to privately owned planes that were small. So he just bought himself a long-range small plane that had the range to be able to get out to Pacific Islands and through Asia and so forth. He never felt the need to leave Australia after that, because he knew he could. So taking some practical steps can completely change your relationship with your circumstances, even if it doesn't change your circumstances. And the practical steps that I advocate for people to take is something that everyone can do, is what I call my survive in place plan. And let me preface this. We saw it in Spain the other day, instability of the grid. London, the grid went down, the tube stopped. Our grid is becoming less and less stable. Storms, In Texas, there was a winter storm a couple of years ago, killed over 700 people, not because of the storm, but because the grid went down and people weren't ready for it. People weren't prepared. We are seeing around the world, if we had a Carrington event, 1854, I think it was, look it up. It'll scare the bejesus out of you if you don't know what it is. A solar flare, basically, which was so powerful back then that it was setting fire to the telegraph huts, because the wires were acting as antenna and there was so much latent energy in the atmosphere that was sparking and setting fire to things. Imagine that in our modern world. What if the Earth copped one of those today? Right? What would that do to all of our devices, all of the devices that control all of our infrastructure, all the rest of it? I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying, look, I think politically the hour is later than we think it is, and we're closer to shortages and supply chain disruptions than we think we are. And I think technologically we're more vulnerable than we think we are. I can't change either of those realities. What I can change is my relationship to those realities. And I do that by having a 3-day survive in place plan that in theory means that if everything stopped, nothing in or out of the borders of my property, no water, no gas, no sewage going out, by the way, you've got to think about sanitation, no electricity, no grocery runs, no neighbors, nothing. How long can I stay within the borders of my property discreetly surviving? Now, I was in Victoria when the lockdowns came in and the famous toilet paper shortage happened. And I've seen people get real savage over a roll of toilet paper. Just stop and think for a moment. If there was a genuine 3-day disruption to food on the supermarket shelves, the minute the word got out, people would be gouging out each other's eyeballs in the local supermarket. Now, again, I'm not trying to spread fear, but I think it needs to be said. We are closer to that knife's edge than I think we realize. Politically speaking, the hour is later than we think, and technologically, we're more vulnerable than we think. We need to be working on our food, our water, our sanitation, our energy. It's relatively inexpensive. You don't need a big Tesla battery on your wall. You can get these nice camping battery setups that'll run your fridge for a couple of days, right? That keep all your food from spoiling, allow you to cook some food, boil some water, these sorts of things. And I'm not saying that you're going to need it, but I'm saying that having it is going to change your relationship with your circumstances. You are not going to have to be as edgy, as knife's edge of, oh, what's happening now? What's happening today? What, did someone say something? If you know you've got resilience, and what about 30 days of resilience instead of 3? If you knew you had resilience, you could actually breathe better and relax a lot more, and your relationship with your circumstances will improve. And so that's what I would say that I'm doing for my family, and what I think we should all be doing.
Got to be interesting to see this younger generation coming through now that are 14 and 15 that have never even picked up a fucking shovel. How they're digging a hole, putting a shit in it. That would be interesting.
Yes.